Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. News has come in about Antoine Semenyo picking Manchester City over Manchester United. A little bit of a blow, but I'm not totally surprised. Like, there was a part of me that had a feeling he would. But I did think maybe with Amran having dinner with him, maybe us having more of a long-term interest in him, the fact that we're willing to change the system with him, maybe we could convince him to join us. But look, he could go to Manchester City and win the league. I can't be salty about it, other than the fact that they just spent a load of money on Marmoush a year ago, who's on a load of wages, who ain't playing, and Semenyo's already coming in to replace him. It's like, so unfair that they can just do that. But look, the player I really want is Elliot Anderson. If he rejects us for City, which I think is likely, to be honest, then I will be pretty mad. But it's a gutting not to get Semenyo because I think he really would have boosted us. But we need a midfielder more than anything else. So I can't be like crying about it or angry about it because we know we've got 65 million to spend in January. It's now 65 million to spend on a midfielder. And I think pretty much the Semenyo news has basically changed our whole transfer window. The news that we are not going to get Semenyo now changes everything in January because it's like, well, you've got 65 million pounds. You can't tell me there isn't a good midfielder available in January for 65 million pounds. You can't tell me that. Maybe we can't get Wharton. Maybe we can't get Anderson. There's Angelo Stiller. There's Manu Kone. There's Lucian Agome. Realistically, you're saying you're saving your money till summer because you want two of Blaber, Wharton, Anderson. I'm going to be real with you. Elliot Anderson's going to go to Manchester City. Adam Wharton is going to go to Liverpool. So we might get Baleba. But realistically, I don't see us getting Elliot Anderson. I think he's going to go right to Manchester City. He's going to pick City over us, like Donnarumma did, like Semenyo did. And apparently Man City did offer Semenyo a lot higher wages, and so did Donnarumma. But what I'm saying is, right, we're going to get one of Elliot Anderson, Wharton, and Baleba in the summer, 100%. I think it'll be Baleba. I think we'll get Baleba in the summer, who's not been in great form. But look in January, Manu Kone is good. Angelo Stiller, I don't think has the physical side, but the technical side. João Gomez. I look at it right now and I say, well, you've got 65 million. You've proved you got 65 million. Go and get a midfielder. Because the Semenyo news changes everything this January for us. It said, we're not getting Semenyo, but there's money there. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Rasmus Hojlund slamming the club, saying best decision he's made. You didn't make the decision to leave Man United. We made the decision to kick you out. So I don't know what you're saying there. And we'll talk about our next move as well. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. Welcome back to a live show. Hope you're all doing good. Stiller has already reported to say that he's going to Madrid. Apparently they don't want him though anymore, but they did want him. Where do you get Wharton to Liverpool from? Liverpool are going to go for a midfielder in the summer, and I think that he would pick Liverpool over us, to be honest. Is this sound okay, guys? Just checking. A couple of people saying it's a bit laggy. Hopefully the sound is okay. Wilcox and Co can do one for even going after Semenyo. Idiots telling him we will change formation, totally undermine Amorim. I mean, you could say it's undermining Amorim, but Amorim is the one begging for Semenyo, and Amorim was the one willing to change his formation for Semenyo. I don't think it... Look, I know Wilcox has told Amorim he's got to move to a 4 at the back. I know that Amorim is planning to move to a 4 at the back because of that. But Amorim wanted Semenyo, and Amorim was willing to change his formation for Semenyo. It wasn't Amorim... It wasn't Wilcox saying we're going to get Semenyo, got to change your formation. Amorim had dinner with Semenyo. Amorim wanted to change his formation with Semenyo because Amorim was convinced Semenyo is the kind of player he wants. Amorim was willing to do that. So, look, Amorim, was willing to change his system for Semenyo, the same guy that said he wouldn't change his system for the Pope. So Amorim clearly wanted Semenyo a lot. But look, we chased Semenyo. We had phone calls with him. We spoke with him in the summer. We threw some money at him. We said we'd do this for him, that for him. But he wanted Manchester City. And look, we can't argue about it. Man City have been good for the last 10, 12 years, winning trophies consistently in the Champions League. We don't know if we're going to be even in the Europa League next season. We don't. We don't know if we're going to finish 5th. We don't know if we're going to finish 15th. We are not challenging for trophies. We're nowhere near winning a Premier League. We can't even get in the Champions League. So as much as I'd like Semenyo at United and hope that he would go with the pull of it being Manchester United and Pep could leave and there's more competition at Manchester City, he's going to go to City. They're probably going to win the Premier League this year. Whereas at Manchester United, we're not going to win the Premier League this year. We're probably not going to win the Premier League next year. And we're probably not going to win the Premier League the season after. I'd like to think in 3 years' time we could be in a position where we're challenging for the Premier League. But I'm just being honest, because I thought, when we came second under Ollie, we're going to challenge for the league the following season, and we never do. We come third under Ten Hag, it's time to challenge for the league the following season. We never do. Whenever we have a good season, we always have a crap transfer window that follows it, and we never build upon the, coming third or coming second. So, look, Man United this season, we need to get in the top 5. That'd be fantastic. Next season, we want to be a team that can really challenge for third. And then the following season, I want to be a team that's challenging for trophies. And maybe when we're a team that's challenging for trophies, we can get people. When we came second under Ollie and third under Ten Hag, our pool was a lot better. But when you come in 15th and the manager was lost more games than he's won, it is going to be harder to convince players to come to United. I don't know why I'm being called delusional. I just said it's harder for us to get Semenyo because we're not doing great at the moment. I don't know how that's delusional. Elliot Anderson is already following City on social media. Elliot Anderson last month basically went and followed all of Manchester City on social media. It's between Man United and Man City for Elliot Anderson. He's going to pick Manchester City. I'm dreaming of Elliot Anderson because Balaba's been crap this season. He's going to pick City. So if we're saying we're not going to do anything in January because we're saving the money for Elliot Anderson, well, we know he's probably going to pick Manchester City. We knew Cunha this time last year. We knew Cunha was a huge Man United fan and that he'd be picking us over other clubs. We knew that Cunha was going to pick us over other clubs deep down. We didn't 100% know. There was rumours of Liverpool and Arsenal and Newcastle having interest in Cunha. But when it was Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Newcastle with interest in Cunha, we knew that we were Cunha's first choice. We knew that Cunha preferred us. We knew we were the club that Cunha wanted to go to for months and months and months. And then he did pick us and it was confirmed. With Elliot Anderson, we don't 100% know he's going to go to City, but we sort of know that's the club he wants to go to. And as much as I'd let Elliot Anderson, it's like, like he's probably going to go to City. Okay, the sound is fine. Perfect. Glad I never joined the Semenyo train. Knew there was no way he'd join us. I thought there was a chance. I thought he was going to go to City, but I thought there was a chance because of our long-term interest in him. The fact that he's got less competition at United. The fact that we are technically a bigger club by name. And, I thought maybe there's a chance because we'd have more long-term interest and there's less competition. But I had a feeling he was probably going to go City. I think he was waiting for Arsenal. I think Arsenal's who we really wanted. We need 2 midfielders, I agree. If we can get one now, we need 3 midfielders realistically. We need 3 midfielders realistically. But if we can get one now, we need 2 big midfielders and 1 small midfielder. That's how I explain it. Like Arsenal have got Declan Rice, Subamende, and Norgard. Norgard's the small midfielders, Declan Rice and Subamende like the bigger midfielders. The more expensive, the better players. What I mean by that. We need 2 top-level midfielders and then a third midfielder for depth, which is an improvement on Nagate. Now, that third midfielder could be João Gomez. That third midfielder could be Ruben Neves. In an ideal world, you get Anderson and Warren as your big midfielders, and you get João Gomez as your little midfielder. And then you keep Maino and Bruno stays another season, and boom, that's our midfield options. The next year we go to a 4-3-3, boom. Would be nice. Our chance of getting Anderson and Wharton is 1-1-5. Look, if City's 1-1-5 charges want to come to a verdict, that would help us. That might help us get Anderson. I do feel like our only chance is if they get some kind of punishment. Yeah. Swap Xerxes for Kone of Roma. That's what I'd look at doing. For me, I know we want Prem Proven, and I'm all for Prem Proven, but there's 1 or 2 players outside the Prem that I just know could do it in the Prem. Like Angelo Stiller, I'm not sure if you can do it in the Prem, but I like him. Manu Kone, on the other hand, physically, I think he can do it in the Premier League. I know all the Prem players go to the Serie A and look amazing, but Manu Kone has been Roma's best player. Roma wants Xerxes. I do think we look at Manu Kone. I think he could do it in the Prem. I'm not as confident about Angelo Stiller, who I do like, but I'm not as confident about him. But Manu Kone, I look at him and think I think he could do it in the Prem. Why do we need to change formation for forward? We don't need him. We need midfielders. Where are we going to go play Semenyo? I agree. We need midfielders more than Semenyo. The reason we went for Semenyo over midfielders is the midfielders we want are Wharton, Baleba, Anderson. We can't get Wharton, Baleba, Anderson till the summer. So we went for Semenyo because we could get him in January and he wouldn't be around in the summer. In an ideal world, United would have rather got Semenyo in summer and a midfielder in January, but that's why they went for Semenyo, because they couldn't get the midfielders they wanted. Yeah. Also, maybe he didn't want to play wing back, but apparently he wasn't going to play wing back. He was going to play 4-3-3. So apparently we told him we we're going to switch to 4-3-3 and play him on the wing. But we're going to talk about Baleba, because I think if anyone is gettable in January, out of the non-gettable options in January, it's Baleba. So let's break down what we know on United's news. I'm just going to take some water because my throat's gone. Semenyo rejects Man United. Ineos had 65 million ready. A winger was never a priority, but Semenyo was viewed as a market opportunity. The priority's always been midfielder. There's no one on the market that we're really liking right now. Semenyo was on the market with a release clause, market opportunity. That's why we looked at it. Amrin has made it clear, even with injuries, he does not want short-term signings. He wants long-term signings. The problem is Bruno is now injured, so the focus is now fully shifted to we need to bring a midfielder in. United are looking at Baleba, Wharton, Anderson, Stiller. They're the main names on the shortlist. Wharton and Anderson, there's no way they're available in January. Brighton is saying Baleba's not for sale, but there is people internally at Man United that think with Baleba's form, they could push Brighton into a sale. The club will test if any of those sides can be persuaded in January to sell. A midfield addition cannot be ruled out, and Ruben Neves is open to joining. And that United's January plans have changed a lot, particularly since Bruno's injury, particularly since Semenyo rejecting us. Our January transfer plans have changed a lot. Daniel says, spend the money on 2 midfielders, got to strengthen our weakest link. I agree. I believe we've got some youth to cover our attacking front. Defence, not the strongest now, but we should be able to cope. Defence, we know that we've got De Ligt and Maguire and people coming back. We know that Majari's at AFCON. Attack, we know that we're scoring goals and there's youth to cover. It's just that, unfortunately, 2 of our best players are at AFCON. It is midfield. It's absolute midfield. Agarty's not good enough. Maynard doesn't want to be here. Bruno's injured. Casemiro is great, but can play 1 game a week and could get suspensions, could pick up an injury. Then we're looking at Saka Kone, Mason Mount, Lissandro Martinez potentially fill in there. It is definitely midfielders that we need. For Amrin to say he's willing to change his formation for Semenyo when he said not even the Pope will make him change, what is the rest of the squad supposed to think? I mean, he really wanted Semenyo, but I don't think it was necessarily like, I want Semenyo more than any other player, la 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 la. I think it was, they've been having conversations these last 2 months about changing formation, and Semenyo is a winger, and he gives them the ability to do that. We've only got 2 wingers in Amad and Mbumo. People forget that, so we can go to a 4-3-3, but do you want to play Mount on the wing? Mount's not really a winger. Cunha's not really a winger. That's why. Maybe that's why they're looking at selling Xerxes. Because they're thinking of going to a 4-3-3. There'll be Sesko and Cunha as middle options. Xerxes can go. Obviously, the left wing options would have been Semenyo and Mount, and the right wing options would have been Amad and Mbumo. Not that Mount's really left winger, but if you had an aggressive left back, potentially he can come on the inside. But yeah, maybe that was the plan. What's City going to do with Semenyo? They have Doku and Mamouche. It's called depth. You need extra quality for competition. We should be back in Europe. Where's City going to play Semenyo? Semenyo can play striker, right wing, and left wing. They've got Cherki, Haaland, Doku, and Foden as the main front 4. Semenyo can rotate with Cherki and obviously Doku, and potentially even Haaland. I think Semenyo will go to Spurs now. Marmouche isn't playing at all. And Oscar Bob, yeah. So I think he will get minutes because Peps doesn't really seem to use Semenyo, Marmouche, and Oscar Bob. I tell you what, I'm not against Marmouche coming to Man United. But that's not going to happen. He's on crazy money. He's on crazy money. Do you think they could sell Marmouche? Imagine that a year after they spent like 60 million on him and gave him 300 grand a week. Jeez. Semenyo, great signing for City, can play left, right, or in the middle. Yeah. Him and Doku in the same team. And those kind of wingers that want to take people on. I feel like in football, I feel like there's a real lack of wingers that want to do something these days. A real lack of wingers that want to do something these days, that want to take people on, that want to make things happen. And Doku and Semenyo are 2 of the wingers in the league that actually want to take people on, want to make things happen, want to do this, want to do that. And the frustrating thing is they're both at Manchester City now. Well, it's not actually done Semenyo yet, but it's expected to be done. It's like 2 of the most exciting wingers that actually want to dribble and make things happen, which is rare in football now, are going to Manchester City. And it does make me jealous. In that sense, yeah. Let's continue on into more updates and news. I want to talk about our alternative to Semenyo. Yan Diamonde is a player United admire and expect to pursue in the coming months. No concrete club-to-club talks yet. A move for Diamonde is more likely in the summer. So Yan Diamonde is a young player playing in the Bundesliga, got a hat-trick, I believe, the other week. I like him, but I feel like he's I don't want to compare him to Garnacho because I think he's a different player and this is a bit rude to compare him to Garnacho because I feel like it's a bit unfair on him. But why I'm comparing him to Garnacho is he's a 19-year-old winger that sometimes is really good and you can see the potential, and sometimes there's other games where you can see his youth and that he's raw. With Yan Diamonde, he's young and raw. With Cunha, he comes in and he makes an instant impact. With Mbuma, he comes in and makes an instant impact. With Sesko, he's raw, and we're seeing that. Sesko's young and raw. Cunha and Mbuma, instant impact. Yan Diamonde is someone that if we sign him, he's raw. He's like Sesko. I feel like Semenyo was instant impact. I feel like we need instant impact signings. One more in attack, two in midfield, one more in defence. That's what I think we need. A left back, ideally, two top midfielders, a top winger. That's what we need, but particularly the two midfielders more than any other position that can make instant impact. Yan Diamonde, I like the idea of him, but I don't want to drop big money on Yan Diamonde, a player for the future when we need instant impact players and also in a different position. He's a winger. We need midfielders. But we have been linked a little bit to Yan Diamonde. There is some interest there from Manchester United in Yan Diamonde, but I don't think it's necessary. If we're going to look at somebody after Semenyo, it would be Njai. I agree. Njai would be my next option after Semenyo if we were going to look for somebody. Njai and Morgan Rogers, I would prefer. If we're looking at Semenyo alternatives, even though they both play a little bit more centrally and Semenyo plays a little bit further out wide and is more of a ball carrier, I'm looking at Njai and I'm looking at Morgan Rogers as if I was to look at Semenyo alternatives. I think he's a tidy player, but yeah. Diamonde is a prospect. We're bad at developing prospects. That's what I mean. I just think we need ready-made. In the summer, I want 5 signings, yeah? I want a ready-made explosive winger. I want 2 ready-made midfielders. I want a ready-made left-back. And then they're the 4 ready-made players I want. And then I want an experienced centre-back, actually. 5 ready-made players. And then number 6 can be just a backup midfielder, like a Norgard type player. 2 elite midfielders that are ready-made. 1 top winger that's ready-made. 1 top left-back and 1 top centre-back that's ready-made. And then we can go for just a third midfielder that's maybe more of a prospect because you've got the experience in. You've also got Seko Kone, Christian Orozco. Maybe Kobbie Mainoo will stay. Who knows? But yeah, 5 signings. 1 experienced centre-back. 2 experienced midfielders. A good winger. A good left-back. Yeah. Diamonde would be another waste of money. Hojlund and Sesko, we should have never signed. They're raw and aren't good enough. I'm willing to give Sesko time. I think Sesko showed more than Hojlund did last season, but I still would like to see more from Sesko. We're losing the pool on top players, and it's going to get worse. And that's the problem. And this is what worries me, okay? And this is why this worries me. Right now, when we're going for top players like Semenyo, who wants City, Donnarumma wants City, Elliot Anderson wants City. So we then have to go for the prospects, potentially. But if you go for the prospects, they might not be ready now and they might not be ready to make that step up. That's the problem. I want us to go for the top players. But the top players, all the other top clubs want, and they're starting to pick the top clubs over us because we've been out of it for so long. So we go for the prospects, which could be good, but we haven't maybe got the environment or the patience to develop them into top players. And that's what worries me. Look, I think we can get Baleba, but he's not been good this season. I don't think we're going to get Elliot Anderson. We need 2 top-level midfielders. And it's like, but can we get them? City want a top midfielder. Liverpool want a top midfielder. We can beat Spurs, fine. But can we beat the other clubs, City and Liverpool, 2 top midfielders when we've been out of it for so long? Top quality players are avoiding us like the play. Can you blame them? I don't think they're avoiding us like the play. Look, Cunha and Mbuma, wow. Yokeres avoided us, probably a good thing. Delap avoided us, probably a good thing. Ekatike avoided us, probably a blow there. But Donnarumma, maybe we went for Le Mans because of the wages, actually. But yeah, Semenyo's avoided us. Elliot Anderson's probably going to avoid us, but Cunha wanted us. He did. And Mbuma wanted us. And Baleba does want us. But it is that worry of, if we have another bad season, and that's three years out of the Champions League, what is our pool going to be like? I mean, Arsenal went through this. Where they had so long without Europe that their pool wasn't great. And they had Ben White and they had Odegaard and they had Lokonga. And luckily, Arsenal the following season managed to go on something to get better players in. But we're where Arsenal were when Arteta first came in. Arsenal had lost all Paul. Then a couple of years later, Arsenal beat Man City to Declan Rice. Arsenal beat Man City to Declan Rice because they showed that last season, second, progress, something here. I know they've come second twice since, but it's like we need to have a season where we come third or second to get that pullback. If we have another season where 8th, 15th and we come 11th this year, it's going to be really difficult. Whereas if we come third this year, then we've got a bit of pull. We need to make sure we're back in that top 5 just for pull reasons. Because Arsenal out of Europe for so long had no pull. Arsenal have got pull up all of a sudden. They beat Man City to Declan Rice, who's arguably their best player. So that's something. We have pull at a point. Players want to be that guy. Look at Liverpool. Look, we do have pull. Don't get me wrong. But it is getting harder and harder to compete with Man City and Liverpool when we've been out of it a while. We saw in the summer, we have pull over Newcastle. We have pull over Tottenham. We have pull over Arsenal actually in the summer because they looked at Mbeumo and they looked at Cunha. But I think that was also because Cunha and Mbeumo were guaranteed starters at Man United. But we don't have pull over City or Liverpool or Real Madrid or Barcelona or maybe Bayern Munich. You never know with Bayern. People want the Premier League. That's where we need to improve. But yeah, listen, people, I'm going to get into the next story, which is on Rasmus Hojlund. So Rasmus Hojlund posted a picture of him holding a trophy and said what a great decision looks like. He also liked a comment that said Manchester who. I'm just going to say this. Rasmus Hojlund, you haven't even left the club, you're on loan. You're still at Manchester United. Napoli might all of a sudden decide they don't want you. So first of all, liking Manchester who and you're still a Manchester United player, disrespectful. You talked about being the biggest Man United fan ever. I'm sorry, if I was a player for Man United and I did crap at Man United and I went to Napoli and I did well, I still wouldn't like comments like Manchester who because I'm still a Man United fan. Hojlund claimed he was a Man United fan. So you're liking comments disrespecting the club when you literally are a Manchester United fan. You were shit. Yes, you didn't get service. Yes, Amrin didn't help you, but you were shit. You got 4 goals, you were shit. And you're saying, oh, what a great decision looks like. It was a great decision for you to go to Napoli for your career, but you didn't make that decision. Ineos did. You refused to go. Ineos kicked you out. You were sitting on the bench for a couple of games and you're like, okay, maybe I will go. You were sitting on the bench for a few games until Sesko came in and then you agreed to leave. You were not going to leave. You got 4 goals last season. You had so many opportunities. Yes, you didn't have service. Yes, it's a difficult club to play for. But you didn't even make the decision. Ineos kicked you out. And I just think to be a Man United fan, to then like comments like Manchester who, to when you're on loan, look, you're doing well. But also, you're playing for Napoli, who are an experienced team in the Serie A. There's one thing doing it in Serie A and there's another thing doing it in the Premier League. So yes, you've got 4 goals in Serie A this season. You've got 7 goals in all comps this season. Yeah? It's not the Premier League. It's not Manchester United. I just think, yes, he didn't get the service and probably would be playing better with Cunha and Mbeumo. But Lukaku could come in, he could hold the bench. Like, for me, he's not going to come back unless Napoli don't get Champions League football because they have to trigger the obligation to get Champions League football. But I'm literally thinking, like, I liked Hojlund as a person. I just felt sorry for him as a player because he weren't good enough. But I just think, so-called Man United fan, liking stuff like, oh, Manchester who, great decision. You didn't even make the decision. We literally told you to F off and you refused to leave. So I just don't know what he's going on about there. I just think it's a bit embarrassing. Worst decision we made in recent years was letting Alvaro go. Yeah, letting Alvaro go was just idiotic. But this is why I'm against letting Maino go. I saw one person put on Twitter, because they're proper like Amarin lover, that we should get rid of Maino and bring in Conor Gallagher because that's what Amarin wants. Getting rid of Maino and bringing in Conor Gallagher is the same as getting rid of Alvaro Fernandez and bringing in Reguilon. We got rid of Alvaro, we brought in Reguilon. We're not getting rid of Maino so we can bring Gallagher in on loan. Like, it's the same thing for me. And then Maino will go to another club and we go, oh my God, why did we sell Maino? Do you know what I mean? It's like, ugh. Did you see Sancho's cryptic message? Yeah, but I think Sancho's realised it's time to step up. I think Sancho, do you know what? Sancho prioritised money and lifestyle and ego and this girl called Sweetie over his footballing career. Sancho could have played way more football for Man United and got his career back on track. But apparently he would lose street cred if he apologised to Ten Hag. He had opportunities to go to Roma, a league that really suits his style of play, but he didn't want to take a wage cut. He went to Villa so he could keep his money, so he could keep his lifestyle, so he could impress old Sweetie. You know? He should have gone to Roma. He should have apologised to Ten Hag. And I think Sancho's realised my career is short. It's time to wake the F up. And he's doing these cryptic Instagram posts. And look, there's a good player in Sancho. And it's sad how things went. But he wasn't willing to put the work in. So, yeah. Apparently, Tottenham are going for Marmoush. That would be a nut signing for Tottenham if they got Marmoush. There's still Man United fans that would take Hojlund back. I'm telling you this now. I know Sesko hasn't been amazing, but Sesko is a better player than Hojlund. I'm telling you this now. If Hojlund was at Man United and Sesko was at Napoli, we'd all be saying we want Sesko because Sesko would be getting good numbers. I think Sesko would be ripping it apart at Napoli and getting good numbers, and we'd all be saying, "Oh, I wish we got Sesko and sold Hojlund." We do this thing. A lot of Man United fans want Sesko gone and Hojlund back because Hojlund's doing well at Napoli. He wouldn't be doing that at Man United. Like, that is fact. Yeah. Anyway, listen, people. I'm going to wrap up today's live stream here, but I want to big up everybody that tunes into today's live stream. I've got loads to do today, but if we do get any breaking news updates, I'll be back. Please do hit the like button on the way out. Please do subscribe if you're new. I'll be back with some more news roundups later. Thank you for watching. Bye.